Hey, welcome to this week's, just a second. I'm not sure if you could hear me. Welcome to this week's leadership video. I'm up in the attic on a 100-degree day, so it's a little bit warm. But what happened was that in the bathroom down below, a leak started coming. And so as I came up into the attic to discover what the leak was, I found that I had a problem. Here is the drip pan that I had, and you can see that it is completely rusted out. And so I've been working on installing a new one. You can see that it's up and operational right now, and I'm pretty excited about that. But as I was working on that, I thought about just that drip, 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 and then the water sitting on this old pan. And what ended up happening was it just rusted the entire pan out. Rust just kept growing and growing till it worked its way right through the pan. And now it wouldn't hold water at all. It wouldn't do what it was supposed to do. I thought, it's a little bit like bitterness in our lives. Bitterness begins to eat away and rust, and that rust wears a hole in our hearts and in our lives. Maybe that bitterness is with another person. Maybe it's with a situation that we seem like we can't get a control over. Leaders, I need to tell you that we need to get rid of the bitterness. I thought about maybe sanding away the rust, but there wasn't enough material left to even sand away. The hole was all the way through. Sometimes with bitterness, we think that we can just get a little bit better. I won't be as angry. It is interesting to me that Paul, in the letter to the Ephesians, to a church that he really cared about, and he gave some very practical things for their lives, he says to them, get rid of all bitterness. All of it. See, bitterness will eat a hole in us. And the only thing that you can do is to completely redo it. When that hole is there, you need to put in a new thing, a new pan. You need to replace that bitterness. And so it actually tells us in Ephesians all of these positives, compassion and love and mercy and all of these things that we can replace bitterness with. But the first thing we have to do is identify it, recognize it, and say, hey, I have been bitter. I've been bitter at work. I've been bitter with my family. I've been bitter with my small group or the people I'm leading at church. But we need to realize I need to get rid of all bitterness. Interestingly, in that passage, Paul tells us that it's our responsibility to get rid of bitterness. It's not God's responsibility. God's responsibility is to fill us with the new hope and love, but we can put that on too. But we need to get rid of bitterness. So friends, I'm encouraging you as leaders, as ministry people, as those who others are following, let's make sure that bitterness is not eating a hole in our life, because it can only be destructive. It only eats holes all the way through us. Hey, I'll see you next week.